Hello everybody and welcome back to another video for the day. We're going back into r/entitled people because unfortunately the epidemic of entitledness is everlasting. So if you guys would like to be absolutely amazing, show your support and see more videos like this one in the near future, be sure to hit the like button, leave a comment down below to start up the wholesome internet discussions because that engagement very much does help out the videos a lot. And if you have not already, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. Entitled teens? Parents? I need options. I was on a different subreddit. I won't cross-post so I don't break the rules, but it got me thinking. The situation, 16 to 17-year-olds decide mutually that they are ready to engage in that kind of relationship. The teens have the necessary discussions on consent and feeling ready. Teenage girl 16 has the discussion with her mother to obtain birth control. The next step is where I get lost and can't even fathom the audacity and entitlement. It makes me wonder if I'm wrong and the world is truly changed. The teenage girl wants the boy, 17, to speak to his mother to inform the mom that they are ready to have the S. So, the boy's mother will give them privacy in the mother's house to engage in it. Boy's mother, up to this point, has never once had a conversation with him about that, and the boy's mother, to this point, does not allow the boy and his girlfriend outside of the living room unsupervised. My gut tells me that all of the comments on this post is teens, because I was literally shook by some of their responses. When I was a teen, I was told the same thing. Almost every other teen I was told, my house is not a brothel. I too had the discussion with my mom when I felt ready for this. I got on birth control, and she even made my boyfriend and myself, with her watching the entire transaction, buy rubbers at Walmart and knock out any and all embarrassment we may ever feel when it came to buying protection. She never allowed us to have S in our house, nor boyfriend's parents. But, like most teenagers, we obviously did. But, also like most teenagers, we had that everywhere else. The park, the woods, in cars, the lake, in the lake. It was half of the fun of that thing. Who once married complacent badass as a teen? The commenters on this post is making me seriously question my own parenting. I, having 3 teenage boys between 14 to 16, I have a fishbowl of rubbers in my house. I have provided older but more tasteful skin magazines in the bathrooms as they didn't destroy their computers with viruses, Astroglide in the medicine cabinets, so my expensive lotions stopped going missing. I'm not naive. I know teens will be teens, and I try to make it a point with all my boys that S is normal and natural, so they never fear coming to me. That said, I have also made it clear in no uncertain terms it's my house, my rules, and it's not going to be treated like a hotel for their pleasure. There is a line between understanding and expectation. I'm not stupid. I know they will eventually have that in my house. I, however, want there to be a little bit of fear and being uncomfortable to do so. I never want them to feel so comfortable that having us as teenagers that they get complacent or raise the bar so much that they take unnecessary risks while experimenting, especially in my home. I feel like if I give express permission to have that in my home and the unbridled privacy to do so, any negative repercussions, i.e. pregnancy, falls to me. After all, as an adult, I understood the risks and allowed them to take it in my home, unchecked. The commenters on this post would have me believe that children today have just as many rights to the house as I do as the owner, that children should feel comfortable to express their privacy in their homes. With that line of thinking, teens should be able to do substances and drink or party and have friends over whenever it suits them all without permission or consent from the parents. Is that really the way the world works today? Or is this entitled teens pushing their own agenda? I try to be cool and hip. Yes, I realize that I am definitely neither cool nor hip. I try to be understanding and provide my kids a super open household that doesn't shame S, sexuality, or anything else. But it's my one job as a parent to teach them how to be an adult, and adults have to abide by rules all day, every day. The wheels of society is literally lubricated off of the rules and expectations of others. So, why am I being attacked saying that children should have to respect the rules of the household set to them? Have teens really gotten that entitled? At the end of the day, yeah, it is your house, so yeah, your rules. And just because they happen to live there does not mean that they're paying the electric bill or anything else of the sort that indicates that they actually own the home. So yeah, unfortunately, some people are gonna have to suck it up that the their house, their rules kind of thing applies. And I know those rules suck. I've been told that before because there was a point in time where I was a teenager too. Yeah, it sucks, but you can't really do anything about it because, yeah, lo and behold, those rules are there for a reason. They're actually meant to protect a lot of people. As far as I know, if your name's on the deed, you're allowed to do the deed. That's pretty much it. If you're not, then you're not. The universe wants me to live with you. Hi, so this actually happened about 2 years ago, but I still find it hilariously ridiculous that I wanted to share it anyways. I, 20F at the time, and my wife, 21F at that time, are just the first couple in our group of friends to move out on our own. We have a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment, and we use the 2nd bedroom as an office for my wife's side business and hobbies. A friend, 21F from high school that we haven't talked to since graduation, recently had gotten into contact with us to reconnect with my wife. They were friends, and I was more of an acquaintance to her. They both had some similar personal experiences since high school that I won't get into, but it basically led to her friend being kicked out of her parents' house and was now living with her aunt. Wife invited her over to hang out, and when she was over, I noticed the apartment perpendicular to ours was vacant and being renovated. So I offhandedly joked, "Oh, wouldn't it be cool if you moved into there? It would be like friends." The following conversation went something like this. Friend, "Oh, that would be cool. Is it available? I mean, they are renovating it right now, but I'm not sure if someone is in line for it. You should call the office Monday and ask." Oh, okay. Now, it seems like perfectly normal and logical, right? Apparently not. I would not be able to predict what this would lead to in the following month if I was Dr. Frickin' Strange. So, 2 days later, it's my wife's birthday. We go on a day trip to Frankenmuth. Friend calls wife up and asks if she could spend the weekend at our place, saying she got into an argument with her aunt. Wife and I say sure, but we won't be back until late because of our trip. She says that that's fine. She then proceeds to text my wife almost hourly, asking if we were on our way back yet, and that she was just waiting under the bridge near our place. We ignore her after the third-ish text until we are on our way back. It's about 1 a.m. and we come home and we were both so tired, we basically told her to take the couch and that she was free to use our Netflix and that we were going to sleep. The next morning, my wife is already left for work. I walked into the living room to feed the cats and I see the friend has almost moved into the apartment. I'm talking fairy lights all above the couch, baskets of her clothes lined up against the wall, the couch is covered in her anime body pillows, which I did not expect, let me tell you, and she's laying back, chillin', playing a ukulele. So, I'm confused to say the least. I kind of just wave at her because I'm still waking up and I'm not entirely sure I'm not hallucinating. So I go into the kitchen, and my sink is filled with dirty dishes. The counter has opened jars of something, and it's basically a mess, and 100% not how I was left last night. And I know for a fact that it was not my wife who made this mess. I don't want to be rude without knowing the full story, and honestly, I barely know this girl. So, I feed the cats and go back to my room to text my wife. Basically, "Hey, what the frick is happening right now?" text. I basically stay in my room the whole day to avoid her, and I wait for my wife to come home to handle whatever this is. To summarize the main parts of the next month, the story goes something like this. Friend went home from the original hangout, told her aunt that they had an apartment lined up for her and that she was moving out, and the aunt thought it was all so sudden and that something wasn't right. Friend ignores her and basically asks if she can stay with us. Wife says yes, assuming that she's staying for a few days, and then friend then reveals that she plans to stay with us until the apartment across was open and ready for her. Yeah, she has not applied or even approved for the apartment. We try to politely nudge her into applying to apartments around the area since we kinda don't know what to do with this information. She then sees, a few days later, a man moving into the apartment she apparently thought was hers and asks me what is going on. I proceed to tell her that she didn't apply for the apartment, so I don't really know what she was expecting. I asked if she applied to any apartments and she says no. I tell my wife to talk some sense into her friend. A few days later, I come home to, again, lounging with fairy lights and a ukulele on my couch. I asked if she has applied to the apartments. She says no, and that she can't because she doesn't have income since she quit her job when moving. I asked if she has applied to any jobs, and she says no. At this point, it's been about 2 weeks, and she has made my apartment a mess. She would leave dirty dishes and trash on my coffee table and in my sink, would sing and make noise constantly, and was frankly just overstaying her welcome, beyond making me feel like a maid all of a sudden. So I politely bullied my wife into fixing this since she is her friend and invited her into this place. Wife takes her apartment hunting, and the friend has something to complain about with each one. The ceilings are too low, the windows aren't big enough, that kind of thing. By the end of the day, wife is frustrated, and friend turns to her and says the sentence that is the final nail in the coffin. I think the universe is telling me I'm supposed to stay with you guys in your apartment. To which the wife responds, the universe will bend, and then proceeds to take her to a hotel and makes her stay there. Wife moves her stuff out of our apartment and into her car, and while talking to her like, what do you want to do with your life? And the conversation basically leads to my wife convincing her to buy a van and renovate that to live in that and travel. The next day, she asks if she can come back to our apartment. I tell my wife to tell her absolutely not and to stay at the hotel or go back to her aunt's. She ends up staying with her parents until she gets a van and then spends a month renovating it and then drives to LA while making music in her van. I don't know, we haven't talked to her since. TLDR, old high school friend thought an empty apartment across her from mine was automatically hers, and then proceeds to move into my apartment uninvited, is disrespectful to my home and does not try to get her own place, tries to get us to let her stay indefinitely, and we convince her to renovate and move into a van. Yeah, you can't just call dibs on a whole apartment and expect things to work out. Oh, once they're done, we'll just move in. Okay, have you filled out any of the paperwork? Have you done literally anything to have it actually claimed on paper as yours? What do you mean that I am not allowed to get to that apartment because I haven't done anything of the sort to make sure that it's mine? Yeah, it does kind of suck when you have a friend comes and says, hey, yeah, I've had this crappy stuff happen to me, and then you just find out why exactly that happened to them and the fact that it is all of their fault, essentially. Taking matters into my own hands because of entitled coworkers. A few years ago, I used to work at a large retail company on the overnight shift at the time. As many who have worked in retail probably know, inventory is a big deal as it can determine whether we get a bonus or not, on top of having to do extra training if the shrinkage amount is really high. We had these devices that were used to do things like add or subtract items from our inventory, printing labels, keeping track of what bins the inventory was in, and so forth. Well, this one particular store, the department managers had talked the store manager into allowing them to store these devices in their lockers at the end of their shifts, which means no one else on any shift could use them except in one department that needed the device to assist customers. About 4 weeks prior to inventory, I asked the co-manager to have these devices left for us so that we can start getting the back rooms ready for inventory, which means getting labels for all of the boxes and then the amount that is in each box, and if there is a row of the same items, to put the correct amount on all of the items that the particular item on the label. Day shift wouldn't do this because they were always too busy. For the next 2 weeks, we were never left any of these devices to get the backrooms completed. This will have been my 8th or 9th inventory, so I know that come inventory time, if the back rooms aren't done, it is always blamed on the overnight manager. So, I spend my 2 days off, and bear in mind, I'm salary, so I don't get paid for this time, at work, getting the back stock rooms completed. This was about 20 extra hours of unpaid time. I had come in early enough on both shifts to be sure to get one of these devices before they were locked away in their lockers. My co-manager had seen me doing this, and when he came in first thing in the morning and he asked why I was there being it was my night off, I told him that since my numerous requests to have the devices available for us hadn't been done, I was there to get the bins in order. I figured when it came to my next shift after my 2 unpaid nights that we would have some of the devices available for us to keep up on any leftover stock that needed to be put away in the bins. I was wrong. When I came in, I had seen that there were none left for us. To say I was pissed was putting it lightly. At that all the time spent, unpaid, and these department managers still think that these devices should be kept to themselves. So I went to the HR office and got a locker binder. In this binder is the combination to all of the padlocks on each locker. I also grabbed a flashlight and began going through every locker that was assigned to a department manager, and if I saw one of the devices in the locker, I opened it and took out the device. Luckily, the area had cameras, so it was easy to see what I took out of the locker. I found every device we had, put them in a shopping cart, and handed them out to associates. Each one had a huge smile on their face and told me thanks. Around 6 a.m., I had the associates bring the devices back and put them in another shopping cart because the last hour of the shift I spent cleaning up and zoning the aisle, meaning making all of the products on the shelves look straight. I was then waited for the department managers to come in. They started trickling around 6:45 a.m., and when they had seen the devices sitting in a shopping cart, well, you would have thought that somebody had just taken their firstborn son from them. Generally, what happens with me is the co-manager comes into the assistant's office, I get up to go walk the floor with them, and see if there was anything I had missed or whatever. This morning, however, when he came into the office, I went to get up, and he basically said, "Hold on, the store manager wants to talk to me first." I asked, "Am I in trouble?" He said, "Don't know, but I'll let you know." So I waited a bit, and he came and got me, and we started our walk. I asked him if I was in trouble and pled my case about having asked for the devices for the past 2 weeks and got nothing. He said no, but if I decide to do this type of thing again, to at least warn him first. I had heard from some of the other assistant managers before I left that some of the department managers were really pissed and said that I should be coached because how dare I go through their lockers. What they apparently didn't know was that company policy actually stated that company equipment is not to be left in lockers after their work shift, and if it is, we have the authority to go through their lockers and find it. I left and expected to once again not have the devices available for us because I was sure the department managers would get their way. When I came in that night, every device was sitting in an office for us to use, and it stayed that way every night up through inventory. The funny thing is, there was a song that was playing when the department managers had started coming in, and it was such a fitting song that now whenever I hear it, I think of this event. The song was Not Ready to Make Nice by the Dixie Chicks, as they were known back then. I don't think I did anything wrong, but I'm pretty sure the department manager's thoughts. But with that, that is going to have to be with the video. If you guys would like this end video and want to be absolutely amazing, see more videos like this, and just overall be a fantastic pal, be sure to hit the like button, leave a comment down below to start up them wholesome internet discussions, and if you guys have not already, subscribe to the channel and turn on them notifications. And I'll be sure to see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching, and bye-bye!